Dilution Ratios Explained.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail Podcast. Today we're going to explain dilution ratios. What are they? What do they mean? How do you do it? There's a lot of people that get slightly confused, and if you've been doing this for a while, you know what dilution ratios are. You might still learn something.
You're always going to learn something with Ivan. That's a soft promise. Ivan, you're going to have to deliver on that. I don't know what you're going to say, but hopefully it's wisdom, erudition, experience. Hey, we have two products that come in a concentrate. All Clean and Rinseless Wash.
Right.
We throw out numbers like 256 to 1 and 15 to 1. Let's get right to it, Ivan. What do they mean?
So, when a dilution ratio is stated, like 256 to 1, it's 256 parts water, 1 part chemical. All Clean, 15 to 1, meaning 15 parts water, 1 part chemical.
So that would mean a 16-ounce bottle has 15 ounces of water, 1 ounce of All Clean.
Correct.
Not 15 total ounces.
No.
It's you add the two numbers together.
Yeah. And as an example, All Clean, when you buy it in the ready-to-use 16-ounce format, it's pre-diluted 15 to 1. We tell you to use All Clean at 30 to 1. That doesn't mean you take that bottle and dilute it 30 to 1. It means you dilute it 1 to 1, meaning now you have a 15 to 1 dilution that you're diluting to 30 to 1. We're still keeping that 1, that's a constant, but we know we have 15 parts of water in it, but we want 30 parts of water, so we just need to double the water.
We'll get to more complicated dilution ratios and how to multiply and do all that stuff, which is, I don't know, it's as simple as a calculator or a Google search, but it's also like good to know this stuff, so hold on.
Yeah.
Let's just go through our dilution ratios first, so that if you're watching this and you like DIY detail, you know how to dilute our products.
Right. And for those of you that are not in the USA, for the Rinseless Wash, it's 4 milliliters to a liter. And sometimes it's a little easier to figure out in metric than it is in imperial measurements. So again, 4 milliliters to a liter is easy. It's 250 to 1. The reason we say 256 to 1 is because a gallon is 128 ounces. If a gallon were 125 ounces, we'd be saying 250 to 1. But it's 128 ounces, sort of a weird number. That is why it's 256 to 1, because it's half an ounce to a gallon, or 1 ounce to 2 gallons. 2 gallons of water is 256 to 1. So 256 ounces of water, 1 ounce of product.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So when it comes to All Clean, it's 15 to 1, Rinseless Wash, 256 to 1, and those are basically our dilutions.
That's it for us. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that have a chart. They need a chart for dilution ratios. And especially with the rinseless washes. You'll see it, some of them say glass cleaning is 8 to 1 and interior cleaning is 32 to 1. They're basically breaking the gallon down into pints and quarts. So a quart is 32 ounces. 32 ounces, if they say 32 to 1, you fill a quart, you add 1 ounce of solution. If they're saying 64 to 1, that's half a gallon. So again, the 128 number is central around a lot of dilutions because that is how many ounces there are in a gallon.
Here's a question that a lot of people ask, and sometimes I do whip out the calculator just to triple check my numbers are right.
Yeah.
I'm filling up my IK, right? So let's say I've got this, Ivan, I'll walk off camera, it's a live production. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm filling this up with water and All Clean.
Right.
Now they'll ask, well, I know you say 15 to 1, but let's say I'm putting a gallon of water in there. How much All Clean do I add?
8 ounces.
Right, so let's just stick with the standard of what we do. How much water do we usually put in these? Not 2 gallons, right?
No, I normally put in a gallon simply because in this particular tool, you want as much air as possible. So putting in too much liquid means you're gonna have to pump it up more often. The more air you have, the less liquid you have, the more pressure you have, the more constant that pressure will be throughout the use of the liquid. So if you put in 8 ounces of All Clean to 128 ounces of water, that gives you the 15 to 1 dilution.
Okay, so you just recommend stick with a gallon of water when you fill up a sprayer.
Yeah.
And then 8 ounces of All Clean, and that's another easy kind of math in your head.
Yeah. Again, in that case, the dilution ratio is easy. And another thing, always put the water in first. One reason for that. Let's say with All Clean, it suds a little bit. You put in your 8 ounces there, you stick the hose in, you'll have bubbles coming out the top before you get to that gallon.
Done that. Been there. Listen to Ivan, it works this way. I'm just trying to think of like, another comment I read recently was like, well, I could do all that, but then what if I diluted Rinseless Wash 5-to-1 for the pre-treat? Like they assume that by using more product, it would work better. And I think that gets us to foam cannon dilutions, which I think is worth visiting. But why? First of all, why shouldn't they dilute Rinseless 5-to-1 for a more powerful pre-treat?
More is not better. If you need more powerful, and you rarely need more powerful, this is somewhere that the industry has gone in the last 5 or 10 years, where people think they need to pre-treat before cleaning. They need an aggressive pre-treat. They need to get all the dirt off before they wash it. You need to get the grit off. The traffic film, you have to have a really, really harsh chemical that's actually going to do damage to your paint. And not necessarily the paint, but all the rubber and the glass and all the other things on the car if you have that caustic of a chemical. So the standard dilution of 256-to-1 for the rinseless is all you need as far as a pre-treat. For all clean, 15-to-1. Don't go any harsher than that. You don't need to. Now, all clean, we have sort of some secret sauces here and there. One of them is, if you're putting all clean in a foamer, add just a little bit, couple drops, doesn't take much. Half a cap full to a gallon, or you can, if you want to go crazy, put a cap full into your gallon of water, 8 ounces of all clean, and a cap full of Incredible Suds. You'll get a longer dwell time with the all clean.
Right, and it just looks foamier to me.
Yeah, it is.
So it's enjoyable. Let's talk about foam cannons, because often, people will want to use our Rinseless Wash as a foaming rinseless.
Yeah.
I don't know about often, but we often will tell people, you can do it, we offer it, it's just going to cost you more money in product.
Yeah.
No need. But some people want the foam on the rinseless, right? Or some people want to throw all clean into their foam cannon, right? And a foam cannon changes up all the dilutions. Let me grab a foam cannon while you talk.
So a foam cannon, on average, and this is on average, you have to test yours for yourself, but it will dilute 10-to-1.
So Ivan, this is a foam cannon.
Yep.
I'm talking to everybody out there, whether you're a 40-year vet or a newbie. So forgive me, but you hook this up to your pressure washer, right?
Right.
And you're going to get just luxurious foam. Not everybody has one of these, but when they do, they want to use it. Right?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. If you spent money on this, you want to use it. I get it.
Oh, they're fun,
You don't want to buy another IK foamer. Can I do everything out of this is what the person might think. And so, but it changes up our dilution ratios, right? 15-to-1 all clean in here does not come out at 15-to-1.
No, it comes out at 150-to-1. So this basically redilutes that's if you're putting it at the most aggressive setting, because there's settings on the top. If you're putting it at the most aggressive setting, meaning it's taking as much liquid as it can out of here, if you're putting out 10, and I'll speak in liters here, it's just a little easier math. And even if you don't know what metric system is, you'll figure out the math. So if I'm putting 10 liters of water through here, it's going to take 1 liter out of here. And so this natively has a dilution ratio of around 10-to-1. That's at its most aggressive setting. At the finest setting, you'll be at about 20-to-1. And that's something you need to figure out. One easy way to figure out what your foam cannon and pressure washer are doing is to fill that pressure washer with just water. Fill the foam cannon with just water, not the pressure washer. And then hook your pressure washer up to it. Because the pressure of your pressure washer, the flow rate, meaning the gallons per minute of your pressure washer, are going to affect how your foam cannon works. If you want to check it out, the easy way of doing it, put in 1 liter or 32 ounces. A quart is 946 milliliters, close enough. Into your foam cannon, just aim it at a bucket till the bowl of your foam cannon is empty. Then look how much water you have in that bucket, measure it. That is going to tell you the dilution ratio of your foam cannon. And those of you that are in the UK especially, it's starting to permeate here a little bit. There's another form of measuring dilutions that's called panel impact ratio. It's not that complicated, but it requires you to do some math. And that math is, like I said, you put 1 liter of water in your foam cannon. You aim it at a bucket and you measure how many liters you have out of there. Our foam cannon, we know that at the highest pressure of our pressure washer, combined with the highest setting on the foam cannon, it's 10-1, meaning that 1 liter of liquid in there gives us 10 liters in the bucket.
So what I really want to know is, how much all clean should I put in my 32-ounce foam cannon if I want the all clean ratio that we recommend?
So if we want all clean at 15-1, you have to put a lot of it in there. And you need to put about 3/4 of a quart. So about 24 ounces in there, the rest with water, to get the 15-1 dilution ratio.
Oh, what a waste of product.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why we use the IK.
Yeah, it's a waste of product first. And with the IK foamer, you're just putting a little bit on the surface. You're not putting a lot. You're getting all you need. If you're doing it with the foam cannon, trying to get a thick foam, you're just wasting product dramatically. You don't need that thick shaving cream foam, especially with the all clean.
What about rinseless wash?
Yeah.
I'll tell people, just play around with it in your foam cannon. Maybe put 2-3 ounces in there, see what that looks like. If you're going for foam, you could go for it because it cleans well, but oftentimes you're going for it for a combination of cleaning and visual because you just like the foam. So it's like, put as much as you want in there, really, as your pre-treat, because obviously, if rinseless is too strong, it streaks on you, right? We don't want that typically if we're not foaming. But if you're foaming, let's talk about dilution ratios with rinseless wash in a foam cannon and what's happening there.
Right. So if we want a 256-1 dilution in there, we need to put 2.5 ounces.
And that'll foam it, okay.
I'll foam it a little bit.
Yeah.
You're not going to get foam like you do with Incredible Suds. Not much foams like Incredible Suds, so don't worry about that. You are going to get a bit of foam on the surface. It's going to do the pre-treating. But honestly, just spraying it on will give you as much of a pre-treat as trying to foam it on with a higher dilution. Again, the strength of the chemical is in how it works, not necessarily how much you put on the surface.
Some people may really want to take your efficient, budget-friendly ways, and they may mix a bucket of rinses at 256-1.
Right.
They may want to keep it because they haven't bought it to waste it. So they may want to store that bucket for a while, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe they want to put their sprayer in the bucket and then fill up a rinseless sprayer, for weeks or months to come.
Yeah.
What should they know about storing rinseless at dilution or even all clean? We'll get this question a lot. Hey, how long can I keep my all clean diluted in my IK sprayer? Just in the spirit of dilutions, people are going to want to keep their stuff for a while. So what is your message to them?
If you're trying to keep it for a long time, use distilled water. In your water, your tap water, there's all sorts of things. They're not bad for you, don't worry. But there are minerals, there are some biologicals in there, there could be some chlorine, there could be some fluoride. There's all sorts of stuff in your water. And that interacts with the chemicals in the solution. When we mix chemicals at our mixing facilities, they're all mixed with distilled water. So the water that we have in our products, because everything has a bit of water in it, it's distilled water. It doesn't affect anything chemically, but your tap water can affect it. And some people, they'll mix up rinseless wash. I just want to have it in my garage ready to go. I pre-mixed it. If your bucket is not 100% clean, if your grit guard is not 100% clean, if your sponge isn't 100% clean, that water can get funky smelling. And sometimes, like myself, my daughter, she lives in the country. Her well water out of the well has a bit of a sulfurish, funky smell. Just put a bucket of water in the garage with a cover, clean bucket, just water out of the tap, open it up in a week or two and it smells really funky.
So it's not even the rinseless's fault.
No.
We're talking about the quality of the water.
Yeah.
That's interesting for sure. What do you prefer when you're actually washing the vehicle? Like, do you ever find a place for distilled water in the wash, or do you feel like that's totally unnecessary?
It's unnecessary. The only time you need to use distilled water is if you want to keep a diluted product for an extended period of time. That's the only time you need it. The rinseless wash, and this is something that confuses people. Sort of an industry, someone started saying it this way and everybody's caught onto it. Rinseless wash does not soften water. We'll say that again. Rinseless wash does not soften water. What it does is it encapsulates the minerals. It doesn't remove them. So if you actually measure the total dissolved solids in your water, and then you add rinseless wash, some people expect that I'll measure the TDS again, and it's 0. No. If you had 400 to start with, you might have 399. But those minerals are encapsulated, and that's why it doesn't leave water spots on the surface. And those minerals that are being encapsulated, that can be what makes your rinseless wash dilution that you're trying to keep for a month start to smell a little bit.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, so how do we properly measure our dilutions? I know we tell people caps, but do you recommend any of those proportioning things that you put on the top of your bottle, or do you recognize, like I used to use these small little Amazon plastic caps.
Yeah.
And I got a pack of like 400 of them or something. I just had it in my mobile detailing rig, aka the bed of my truck or some crevice of my Subaru, depending on what mobile detailing rig I had. And I would just like grab a plastic one disposable, mix it up to an ounce. But Ivan, you've got your way. So how do you recommend folks, proportion our products? Measure.
So basically, you can have a measuring cup. You can have the little, shot glasses. You can have the proportioners, and that's the name of it. It's made by Tulco. They screw onto a bottle, and you squeeze the bottle. The liquid goes up. You can adjust it. There's all sorts of different ways of measuring, but measure. Don't glug. Don't just sort of wing it and fake it and, that looks about right. When you're doing that, inevitably, everyone uses way too much product. That's not a good thing. Now, our caps. We say with the rinseless wash to use a cap full of product. Our cap is actually a little under half an ounce. Don't stress over it. Don't overthink it. Our dilution ratio is a maximum of 256 to 1. You can dilute it at 300 to 1, and it's not going to be that big of an issue.
We call it a concentrate, but lately we've been calling it a super concentrate.
Yeah.
Whether it's all clean or rinseless wash. These are super concentrates. So that is a question that a lot of people have asked.
Yeah.
I actually measured it all out. And your cap is not a half an ounce.
No.
And I basically send them an extended email that boils down to 2 words. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's
Don't
fine.
overthink it.
It's fine. It's like less is actually perfectly fine. Like this stuff cleans really well. I was asking Ivan the other day, we were mixing up rinses. I'm like, I don't have a cap with me. You ready to eyeball this? And he's like, no. Off camera. So Ivan's the same guy. I'm like, why? He's like, do you like streaking? I was like, I'm just here just to throw some in. Let's get it. No, we do it the proper way. We measure out our rinses, no wasted product. So you really believe in that?
Oh, 100%. Because using too much product causes problems. You actually have more risk using too much than not enough. Especially with the All Clean, it's a very powerful chemical. We call it a super concentrate for a reason. 15 to 1 is a much higher dilution ratio than many or most all-purpose cleaners out there. They'll have you diluting it 3 to 1 or 4 to 1 or 1 to 1 for that matter. If you dilute this 1 to 1, you've got a really potent chemical on your hands.
Was it Jamie the cleaner who diluted our tire dressing 1 to 1?
Yeah.
I haven't tried that.
No, it will give you a slightly thinner product, a little less durability, so you can. I think he was wanting to spray it, so putting in a sprayer. That's another thing. I'm not a fan of spraying.
Oh, like
product.
an actual, like a paint gun type spray. Oh, yeah.
It atomizes, and when you have atomized chemicals, not only are they in the air where you're breathing them, they also get on your skin. It's not a good thing for you. And a lot of chemicals should not be atomized. All-purpose cleaner is one of them. We put it in foam, that's fine. The foam is not a fine mist going everywhere. But if you were to put it in a paint gun and try to put it on, you're going to get overspray everywhere, and that overspray, again, on your skin, in your lungs, everywhere. It's not good for you.
I'm guilty of this, using rinseless wash at home, like spraying around. I was just thinking of atomizing, fine mist, and I was like, fine amounts of product. Oh yeah, when I just mix like a bottle for my home use, I'm sure I'm just trying to get a drop of rinseless in my 32-ounce bottle. People use syringes. Like, how would you recommend someone if they're not going to make a full bucket of it and then dip the sprayer in the 256 to 1 solution, which is easier because it's just 1 capful, per gallon, whatever. But when you're just mixing a spray bottle, how do you recommend they dilute it?
The syringe is the best way. Because let's say a 32-ounce bottle, we need 1 milliliter or 1/28th of an ounce. That's all you need. That's less than a drop.
So you would get a milliliter. I don't even know what syringes look like. What do they measure in? Milliliters?
Yeah.
Okay. So get a syringe and then...
Milliliters or cc's, same thing.
Okay, so 1 cc for a 32-ounce bottle?
Yeah.
So half of that for a 16-ounce bottle.
Yeah.
So if you've watched this long, we're delivering value for you. We're doing all the math for you. Any other math we can do for folks using our products? Because if they've made it this far, like, let's give them everything.
Well, cost per use. And that's something a lot of people don't calculate. They look at the cost of a product, a concentrate, and go, ooh, that's expensive. But then if you sit down and calculate how much you can get out of that, you get a lot more. An example, our iron remover. It's not a product we dilute. There's no dilution happening there whatsoever. Most companies will have you put it in a spray bottle, spray it all over the car. You're gonna be using 8, 10, 12, 16 ounces if you're like Nick on one car. The way we teach
You'll
it,
have fun in the moment.
yeah. But the way, yeah, you like the smell of iron remover.
No, you're right. That is
yeah.
too much product. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, that's a false statement. It's too much.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeking short-term pleasure using up all my product in one car. Like,
No.
That's an old me. I'm a grown man. You know,
Yeah,
I'm more
okay.
disciplined than that. So, yeah, do it Ivan's way.
So, let's say, for sake of argument, it's $1 an ounce, $128. It's roughly what it is. I don't know pricing that much, but anyways, it's not my part of the business. The iron remover, let's say it's $128 a bottle, so we have $1 per ounce. We use less than 1 ounce on a vehicle, meaning we use $1 worth of iron remover. If you use it the other way, you're using, let's say, half a 16-ounce bottle. That's 8 ounces. That's $8 to do the car versus $1. That makes a big difference. So cost per use. Same thing with our all-purpose cleaner. Yes, it might be more expensive than something else. Other products, let's say they have a dilution ratio of 1:1. That means you get 2 gallons out of 1 gallon. Ours, you get 16 gallons out of 1 gallon.
And it may be hard to know how many gallons did I fill my bucket to. Just know how many gallons your bucket is. They're usually 5-gallon buckets,
Yeah.
right? Or 4. It just depends on the size.
There's 1, 2, 3.5, 4, and 5, and 6.
Yeah, no. So just look at your whatever. Figure out how many gallons your bucket is, and then measure from like how many gallons you put in there. Because sometimes I eyeball it, and if I think it's like a 4 or 5 gallon bucket, I'll just do 2 ounces in there of rinseless. I won't go to 2.5 because I'm like it could be 4. Anyway, just be smart about it.
Right.
Just figure out what you've got going on.
Now, one way to do it: take a gallon jug of water, pour it into the bucket. Take a line or a marker, just draw a line at that 1 gallon mark. Then add another jug in. Go to the tap, fill the jug back up, throw it in. Now you have the 2 gallon mark. Put a line around that. 3 gallon, 4 gallon, 5 gallon. And a 5 gallon bucket actually holds more than 5 gallons. 5 gallon is not at the top of it. So you need to figure out where that 5 gallon mark is. That way you can more accurately dilute.
It's so simple the way you explain it, but I've never tried that before. So hopefully you take this tip at home. Have you done this, folks? What are your strategies for accurate measuring? I love the wisdom, Ivan, and I'm just thinking about dilution ratios. Also, 256-1 for the pad washer. So
Yeah.
same. How much do you want to put in the pad washer? About a gallon of water? Like, what's your sweet spot for amount? Because I know then you get to fill the catcher in there, and it's like where do you put the water?
Yeah, 1 gallon.
1 gallon.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
all you need.
Just 1 gallon of water, cap full of rinseless.
Yeah, and you're good to go.
All right. I think that about wraps it up, folks. If you like learning about dilution ratios, you might actually love this conversation. We encourage you to head there right now.